Okay, so we're starting the build. Just gonna go over, we don't need anything complex at all for this build. It's really straightforward. There's no photo etch or anything. Just using thin cement, a couple of different files or sandpaper sticks, whatever you want to call them. Metal straight edge to help with alignments, X-Acto hobby knife, and some sprue cutters. That's all. That's the only tools that we need for this build. Already started the first step. Had a little bit of trouble already with the alignment of these components on here, but I think they're mostly hidden. And I'm going to press on now. You can follow along, speed it all up, and do all this complicated stuff inside here, here, and here. I've noticed a series of sub-assemblies like to make this internal boiler support structure here. So just crack on with that and continue with the build. Any other points, I'll come back to you. Coming up to finishing off the first step of the instructions. All these sub-assemblies have been built up. Yeah, there's going to be some filling required on, like, especially that part. I think these are steam buffers, I think that's what they're called. So we can get this part fixed on, which is the framework that supports the boiler itself. Another thing that I did notice, have to be careful about, is this part here, right at the end. I'll just show you on the instructions. Always helps to look forward a bit in the instructions to see what happens. And this is a sub-assembly. That little bar there, that I've left that so you can rotate it, but I won't need to. These pieces here, D48, I've left them off entirely. They're going to interconnect with something, and I don't want to have them misaligned at this step, so I've left them out for now. Nothing else. Everything. I did make a mistake with this part here as well. I built all that back to front. I had to rip it out, put it back in again. But that all seems good now. So we'll see if we can get this piece in here. Looks kind of tricky. It was like a bit of a jigsaw. You can see there's some slots where it's going to fall into. Let's see if we can do this. Should be a bit of a challenge. See if we don't break anything, of course. A bit tricky to do, but okay, that goes in there, that goes in there, that goes in there, and then the final one goes in there, and just gently ease that down into position. I haven't actually glued these parts. Sorry, I'm not showing you that. I didn't actually glue these parts themselves, but yeah, we'll run a bead of glue there. That's not too bad. Okay, let's just push that down. Sort of like you push one down, the other push one down, the other one pops up, but that's basically the undercarriage or chassis, whatever you want to call it. Did notice as well, didn't pick it up on the review, yeah, there is some like injection release marks or pin marks. I didn't clean them up as well. I've sort of gambled on the fact that they're going to be hidden. I hope so. I know what those ones are. There's some there as well on that. They all seem to be facing the same direction. Hopefully they don't get caught out. I don't want to be filling them in later on. Okay, but here's a quick update of where I've got up to on the Kriegslokomotive, which is German for war locomotive, but you probably all knew that, guys, right? I've assembled the cab, and yeah, the thing is actually, it's really full of these ejection pin marks, and I'm neglected to clean them up. Maybe I am the lazy modeler. Well, let's face it, I am the lazy modeler. On the sort of viewpoint that you're not really going to see them once we've got the roof goes on here. There's a bit of glazing. You're going to look through here, and what you're going to see is the front face of the boiler. So I started to glue that in place inside here, and then removed it because there's a lot of detail to go on there, and various sort of detailed bits of painting. So I'm going to assemble that with all the little details painted up, and then slip it inside here. And we're actually going to get to the point where we're going to need some paint inside this cabin. It's actually not badly detailed. The thing that's like down is these injection pin marks, and well, I'm working to complete this quite quickly, let's be honest. Okay, these the steam pistons had some quite large gaps, and what I've been doing is I use super glue as the filler, and I ran a bead across there, and then you know, filing these down to tidy them up. Likewise with these, I don't know, steam reservoirs, precious, I don't know what they are, but these cylinders, same sort of treatment, a bit of super glue, close them up. They actually locate sort of underneath in this area here. You can't really see them. You can see one sort of sticking out there. And then also we've got the boiler cemented together. Same situation again. The underneath of it you're not going to see, so I'm just going to quickly work over and sand down that seam there, get that tidied up. But the top of the boiler we will see, so I've started filling that in again using a bead of super glue, running it across the top, and then we'll get all that polished up. There's quite a few details to fit on there. One thing, I've made the decision that I'm not going to fit these the steam deflectors. I like the look of the boiler, so let's just do a quick dry fit to show you how this sort of goes together. The cab will cement onto the rear face of the boiler like so, and then the real alignment point is this structure on here, and then we basically have, that's how our loco looks, yeah, sitting on like so. And obviously a lot of detail work to go. I'm up to, let's see which instruction stage I'm up to at the moment. Yeah, up to about step 3, where I'm working on the boiler. And there's all that, what I mentioned was the cab details. All of those guys need to get fitted in. And then what they've neglected on the instructions is to tell us how to paint the inside of that cab. But I've got a pretty good idea, and I might look for some references, and then as we start the painting, I'll bring up those references. I imagine it's going to be pretty dark inside the cabin of a locomotive. I'm looking forward to progressing, and I'll give you an update as we continue. Thanks. Okay, so here we are. So I've got to the completion of the actual locomotive itself. A few notes to sort of point out. Cab roof is loose. This is the front face of the boiler I was talking about. We're going to paint that up separately just before we slot it into, because this will slot straight into here, and then we'll put on the glazing and then seal that up. There's also the steam line as well. There's controls to go in as well in the cab. Well, to be honest, I didn't actually think I would get to the other side of this build, and you can see from my other videos I'm an AFE modeler, and I chose this subject because I thought it'd be relatively straightforward and interesting, and sort of a good sort of beginners type model. And I have to say I'm totally mistaken. It's proved to be rather complex, and the real complexity has been in all these parts here, these connecting rods, everything associated with the wheels and these pistons has been a little bit tricky. And also, let's just be honest about this, you can see I've got some deficiencies in the construction. This running board here is it's not straight, and I can't understand. I don't know where I've gone wrong, but something's gone wrong in the align. Everything seems to be parallel, which is good. The actual fit of the boiler to those supports wasn't exactly great. It wasn't perfect, and there's some gaps underneath there, and something's come out of alignment there. In terms of construction notes, there are so many. Really, I mean, they've gone to some lengths to make this as accurate as possible by incorporating so many parts. And you can see here I've actually got a breakage here where I'm going to skim that over with a piece of plastic card. But look at the alignment of these wheels. Make a note of it. It needs to be in this position, because the nature of these steam engines is, I believe, that the efficiencies derive from the pistons operating against one another, or as the piston operates that rod, on the other side, the opposite piston is getting pushed backwards, I think, by steam pressure. I'm not too sure on the technicalities, but to make this simple, you can see that this low point here, the piston's actually out on the outward stroke, so that connecting rod is at the bottom, and then just go back again. It is a little bit tricky to handle. You can see it's the opposite on here. They're actually at full stroke, the pistons actually in the chamber there. So make sure you get that right, or these parts will not connect. These connecting rods will be all out of line. You won't be able to construct it. There's a lot of threading through to do in these parts here. It wasn't easy. It wasn't so difficult also, but in summary, I really like it. I very much like the appearance of it, and I think I made a good decision to leave off these steam deflectors. So really, the only things that we need to do now are the hopper, which is really straightforward, and some rail tracks. So I'm going to just crack on with that and come back to you and show you, because there's nothing else to really point out on this, and then we'll get onto painting on the next video, but that's for another time. Okay, here we are. This is basically the finished item, in terms of construction that is, of course. Just want to go back to one point, I forgot to mention the that rubbery vinyl stuff that became these steam lines from the that manifold. I just used the thin cement and it did bond them okay. They didn't reach right down to where they were meant to, but regardless they stuck. I didn't need to use super glue, that's the point I'm trying to make. So yeah, that core hopper, that was like maybe about 20 minutes to make, and then the track about 10, so nowhere near the complexity of the loco itself. I've got a spare piece of track left, so we're left with, actually it's quite a big display piece. Yeah, it's quite a good length, and looks pretty nice. There's nothing else to say really, except let's just have a look over it. The build went together well. You know, detail is really nice in this kit, and I'm looking forward to painting it. That's the next step, of course. And like I did say, I want to try that. Let's just refresh ourselves on the schemes. We've got two schemes here. This camo scheme with this hard edge, and of course the sort of like this black grey with the red carriage. And I'm gonna check references. It's gonna be a while until I can do the painting. I'm going away on vacation for a little while, but I hope you enjoyed the build. Any questions, just put them down below. See you soon.